It is May 7th, 2021. I am your host, Carter Ring, and this is the Ringers Podcast, coming at you with episode 82 here on the Ringers Podcast here on this Friday afternoon. Been away for a little while. Been working on some other things that I got going on. But I've had a couple podcasts here and there in the draft saved. So I will be putting those out here soon. But today's podcast it's kind of me just putting everyone on notice. And I'm sure you are if you follow NBA basketball. And I have a confession to make, guys. I'm getting a little worried about my Lakers. I'm getting a little worried. And I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. No. This isn't what this podcast is about. I'm not going to tell you why I think the Lakers won't win. I'm just going to say I'm a little worried. I'm not as confident as I was a month ago, 2 months ago, beginning of the season, right? So I look at the Lakers right now. Just got blown out last night by the LA Clippers. 118-94 without without LeBron James, without Dennis Schroeder, Talen Horton-Tucker. Anthony Davis left the game with back spasms, ran into the scores table, and it looked like an ankle, and they said it was back spasms. But AD's really starting to not piss me off, but I'm getting to a point where it's so exhausting with Anthony Davis, right? The talent is there. Everyone sees the talent with Anthony Davis. It's not the problem, right? It's their ability. The guy's made of glass. If you look at him, he gets hurt, right? If you stare at him long enough, he might get hurt. It's some guys that are just made of tissue paper, right? And that is, again, Anthony Davis is one of the best players in basketball when he's healthy, right? You can make the case as a top 5 player in the NBA. But I just don't know. When you're talking about Achilles and tendons, that stuff just doesn't go away. You need time, like an immense amount of time to heal that stuff. And he just keeps getting banged up every time he plays a game, right? He's going to play tonight. He's probable to play against Portland. And by the way, that's a huge game tonight. Lakers are the 6th seed. Portland's the 7, right? This is a ginormous game tonight for the Lakers and the Blazers, right? At 9 o'clock on ESPN, I will be watching that and cheering hard for my Lakers. This is we need some wins. We're 37-29, right? Now, listen, if the Lakers end up getting in the play-in tournament, I would imagine that LeBron and AD are going to be back. And am I sweating playing maybe Memphis or San Antonio or the Warriors when I have LeBron and AD and probably Dennis Schroeder back? Probably not, right? I'm going to bet all my money and my chips on LeBron to come through and win a game or two to get to the playoffs, right? But I'm concerned. I'm starting to get concerned with the Lakers. Chemistry, continuity, flow, team offense. I mean, that defense, chemistry, that stuff matters, especially come playoff time. Now, I'm not as nervous as if I didn't have LeBron and James on this team, who I've seen orchestrate teams and chemistry within weeks and get them to a finals. I know what LeBron can do. I believe in LeBron, and I trust LeBron. But the problem with LeBron right now is he's not healthy. I trust a healthy LeBron. I don't trust a banged-up LeBron in year 18. I can't. I can't do it. Right? I love the guy. He's my favorite player of all time. I think he's the best basketball player to ever live. But in year 18, the ankle injury, it worries me, right? Now, I know LeBron spends millions of dollars on his body to keep it ready and keep it, healthy, but when I look at this Lakers team, it runs through LBJ, right? And then Davis, and then Schroeder, right? Schroeder's been out the last week. He's out another week with safety and health protocol. He's out. Probably has COVID. Right? And I look at this, Lakers team. Andre Drummond's been disappointing. He hasn't been a good fit so far, right? When him and LeBron and AD last week were on the court together, it seems like he's clogging up lanes. He's clogging up driving lanes, right? I'm not saying Drummond's not going to be a good player in the playoffs, right? He's definitely an upgrade, I think, over Marc Gasol at times, but Gasol should be playing still too, right? So there are some concerns. I will be the first to admit it. I'm starting to get the confidence meter is going down day by day. If they don't win tonight, it might be time to just slap the red panic button. Put the alarms off and panic, right? Because and I've never really panicked with a LeBron James led team, right? But this lineup, Schroeder, Caldwell Pope, LeBron, AD, Drummond, they haven't had a lot of time to get on the court together. It's like Brooklyn with Harden. We've seen a small sample size of Brooklyn together, all three of those guys, and Joe Harris and Jordan and Griffin, but we've only seen like 3 or 4 games, 5 games with it. We've only seen a couple with the big three in LA, Drummond, LeBron, and AD, right? Now, again, this goes back to my LeBron and chemistry. I've never seen Tom Brady and LeBron James are the best athletes of all time. Taking a mess, chaos, drama, and turning it around and making it a dominant team within a week's or a month span, right? LeBron is capable, if healthy, to come back, right, and get this Lakers team on track. But he's going to need all his guys. He's going to need his soldiers. He's going to need Schroeder. He's going to need Drummond. He's going to need AD. He's going to need even Talon Horton-Tucker. Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Wes Matthews. He's going to need the whole gang, Caruso. All these guys are going to have to get on the court together and play, right? The thing I also can hang my hat on as a Lakers fan, the Lakers have the best defense in basketball. They have all year. And that's a huge credit to Frank Vogel and his staff, right? Defense, right? That stuff matters in the playoffs. That's why if the Lakers are healthy, no one's beating them in a 7-game series. Nobody. I don't care if the Nets get James Harden back. The Lakers not only can score at a high clip with their guys when they're healthy, but they can defend. They can lock down on the other end of the court. And that matters come finals, Eastern Conference, or Western Conference finals, whatever it is, right? The Lakers can do it on both ends, right? That matters to me. And like I said, that's a huge credit to Frank Vogel. And I don't want to get to the point where, the Lakers aren't playing any defense, because that's going to be bad. Like, that's going to be bad. If you're talking about a matchup first round possibly with the Clippers, I got respect. Listen, the Clippers have never been to a conference finals. They're not really a huge franchise, right? Like, success, right? Kind of poverty, if you ask me. But I look at the Clippers, Kawhi, Paul George, if he stays hot, they have Rondo now. I love playoff Rondo. And I think the Lakers are going to miss him a little bit in the playoffs. Rondo to run the offense with Kawhi, PG, Ibaka, Luke Kennard, say what you want. That man can shoot the lights out. I'm not going to lie to you. A first-round matchup against the Clippers, it scares me. It scares me to death, right? Especially if LeBron and AD are banged up, right? Even a first-round matchup against Phoenix, I got to respect it, right? Do I think the Suns or Jazz would take the Lakers down even if LeBron's a little nicked up? No. I don't think the Lakers are going to lose to one of those teams. But the Clippers with Kawhi, who's a top 5 small forward to ever play the game, Paul George, what if he stays hot? And then they got Rondo, Ibaka, they got vets, right? Nicholas Batum. So here's the thing. The Lakers are probably going to end up, they're going to end up probably getting the 5 or 6 seed, right? Maybe they avoid the play-in tournament. But tonight's a huge game for the Lakers. It's a ginormous game, and I don't usually put an emphasis on the regular season. I don't really hype up games. There's some games that are key in the year, right? Maybe for bragging rights or to prove that you can beat anybody, but this is a big game, right? The Lakers lose tonight. They're 37-30, right? They're right 7 seed. They're right in the play-in, right? There's about a week to go, and it's interesting because I look at the Lakers right now, and I've seen flashes. When I watch the games, I'm like, man, this team, if they just put it all together and they're healthy, they're going to unbeatable, right? But I'm getting to the point now where it's like, is AD going to get nicked up in the first round? Is he going to be hurt? Is LeBron going to be hurt? I mean, are guys going to miss time with COVID? I mean, I don't know, right? So, again, I trust LeBron James. I trust that he'll put it all together and at least get them to the finals. Now, if you want to talk about a team like Brooklyn, they've lost 3 in a row. And the knock on Brooklyn, and I said it back in the fall, I said Brooklyn will not win a championship. They don't play defense. You have to play defense to win a championship in this league, right? If you're going to beat the Lakers in a series, if you're going to beat them 4 out of 7 times, you got to get some stops. You got to get stops on LeBron, AD, Schroeder, Drummond, Harrell. You got to get stops. Those guys can score, right? James Harden ain't fixing the Nets defense, right? I watched the Nets-Bucks game the other night. The Bucks at the end of the game had 6 layups, uncontested layups in a row, right? That's not fixable. And James Harden, don't tell me he's coming back and stopping that. No way. James Harden's not a defender. Yeah, he's the best scorer of all time. Where is he on the defenders all-time list? Listen, the Nets are going to outscore everybody in the East. That's why I'm not taking Milwaukee or Philly seriously in a series against them. I just don't think they have enough. But if one of those guys gets hurt, if the Nets don't have James Harden, the Bucks or Sixers can beat them in a series if they play their A game. If Giannis and Simmons and Embiid, those guys, the stars, Drew Holiday, Middleton, if they live up to the hype, right? Those teams can be had, right? So I'm looking at the Brooklyn Nets and I'm saying they're not a lock to get to the finals. With if they don't play defense and if Harden's not healthy, No, that team's not a lock, and I called it. I called it back in the fall. I said the Nets scare me too. But if both teams are healthy and clicking, it should be Nets-Lakers in the finals. Those are the two best teams in basketball, right? Let's be honest. If the Lakers were healthy all year, they'd be a top 2 seed in the Western Conference. Top 3. The Suns and the Jazz have pretty good records. But I got to be honest. I have to be honest. I'm starting to get a little worried about the Lakers. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't sit back as easy as it was a month ago and say, LeBron and AD are coming back. No one's touching us. I don't know if they're going to be healthy for the playoffs. I hope. The Lakers got to finish up against Portland. Sunday, they got to play the Suns, the best team in the Western Conference. They got the Knicks on Tuesday night. The Knicks, how about Julius Randle? Top 5 MVP candidate, right? He won't win it, but what a job Julius Randle's done resurrecting his career. Why did the Lakers get rid of him? And look at the Knicks team, right? A bunch of young guys. That's a big game Tuesday night, right? I'm looking at the Rockets and Pacers and Pelicans. Those should be 3 wins to end the regular season in a row, right? To avoid the play-in. So this is very interesting. Like I said, I'm really nervous. I don't know. I'm getting to the point now, if Bron's not healthy, I'm going to panic. I'm going to panic because this team runs through LeBron, right? Doesn't run through Anthony Davis, doesn't run through Dennis Schroeder, Andre Drummond. It runs through one man and one man only, the king himself. So Lakers aren't healthy. Don't come at me. I told you. The Lakers aren't going nowhere without one of these guys. If one of those guys are nicked up or hurt, and you can say it's excuses, but it's a pretty valid excuse. We know what's going to happen if both those guys are healthy. The Lakers are going to win the championship again. We know that, right? But so it's a pretty valid excuse, the Lakers didn't win the championship. Ha ha, Curry, you were wrong. Did I predict that LeBron and AD were going to miss each half the season? Did I predict that they were going to get hurt possibly in the playoffs? Did I know that was coming? I'm not a psychic. I don't know the future, right? But I can predict based on, on analysis and, what I think is going to happen because I have a good educated guess with my eyeballs, right? Like, anyone with a brain knows the Lakers are probably going to win it if they're healthy. But the timing sucks, man. Like, they don't have enough time left. I can't keep saying, they're going to get healthy soon. They're all going to get on the court and figure it out. They're running out of time, right? Do I trust, again, I trust LeBron on the fly to get it done in the playoffs and in the Western Conference. But, man, if we have to go up against Brooklyn in the finals and LeBron and AD nicked up and the Nets are healthy and all 3 of them are knocking down shots, we're not beating Brooklyn. No way. We might get swept if LeBron or AD's out, right? So NBA playoffs start late next week or in 2 weeks. Pretty close. It's going to be an interesting playoff. And I didn't think the Lakers would be in this position back in the fall after winning the championship in October. I certainly did not. And this is definitely kind of disappointing. But, hey, it's the nature of the game. Injuries happen. And now it's time for the Lakers to come out tonight and start and get a win and keep themselves out of that play-in tournament. But, again, if they have to go to the play-in tournament, I'm not really going to sweat. If LeBron and AD are healthy and they're playing, I'm not going to really sweat the San Antonio Spurs or Memphis Grizzlies or the Warriors. As good as Steph Curry's played this year, and he's the best point guard in the game, best shooter of all time, and I'm saying it right now, he's the best point guard to ever play the game. Sorry, Magic Johnson. Sorry, Isaiah Thomas. Sorry, Chris Paul. Sorry. Steph Curry's the best point guard to ever play the game, right? And I'm going to do a podcast talking about that. I think he's the best point guard to ever play the game. And what he's doing with that Warriors team right now, it's unbelievable, right? But I'm still not going to predict that he's going to go out unless he scores like 50 and the Lakers are stone cold or one of those guys is hurt. They're not beating the Lakers in a play-in game. I just don't see it. So, yeah, I'm definitely keeping my eyes on the NBA playoffs and NBA play-in tournament and all that stuff coming up here to end this NBA regular season. It feels like it's been a long regular season, but it's 10 games shorter this year. But yeah, big game tonight, Blazers-Lakers. Loser falls to the 7 seed in the Western Conference. Anthony Davis is probable to go tonight. He's going to play. LeBron is out, as well as Dennis Schroeder. So yeah, keep your eyes on that, 9 o'clock on ESPN. This was episode 82 of the Ringers Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you soon.